Good afternoon. I'm Spot On Weather Meteorologist Matthew Euler, and today we're going to take a look at the long range outlook with a discussion. Okay, so we're going to start off the long range discussion next Tuesday, 6 December, and just want to show everybody what the pattern is looking like. And it's looking very much colder for Southeast Virginia, especially after 9 December, and these weather charts will break them down, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So on the left here, I have a thickness chart. Just basically these blue dash lines and these red dash lines represent different values of thicknesses in the atmosphere. And the higher the thickness value, the warmer the air is near the surface where we live. And then also, in addition to thickness lines, the blue dash lines indicate colder air, and the red dash lines indicate warmer air or warmer thicknesses. And then we also have surface features on this chart. I have in red, you have low pressure areas. We have high pressure areas in blue. And then the solid lines, the black lines on this chart indicate isobars or lines of equal pressure. And then I also have precipitation overlaid on this chart. I have green for rainfall. Yellow is heavier rainfall pockets, and blue is snowfall. So taking a look, starting it off, one more thing I want to explain before I start, I guess, is I got my 850 millibar chart over here, which I've shown in previous videos. These are the temperatures at 5,000 feet above the surface, and they're a good indicator of what the forecast high temperatures and the low temperatures are going to be here where we live at the ground. All right, so starting off on Tuesday, 6 December at 0700 Eastern Standard Time. We have an area of low pressure, 998 millibar low, situated over eastern Kentucky, which that's a very good thing, especially with all the forest fires that have been going on down in the southeast into Tennessee, Gatlinburg area. So it looks like another good soaker next week on Tuesday for the areas that desperately need the rain to put those fires out. So that's a lot of good news there. So an area of low pressure, Southeast Virginia is in this location. We're getting rain at this time, a lot of rain. The winds around this low pressure system are counterclockwise, bringing a lot of warm southwesterly winds, a lot of moist air into Southeast Virginia. So it looks like next Tuesday we have high pressure offshore, 1022 high, clockwise flow around it, counterclockwise flow around this low. It's going to bring up a lot of moisture and rainfall into the area for Virginia. And looking over here on the right is the temperatures at 850 millibars or 5,000 feet in the atmosphere. And again, the purples and the reds indicate very, very, very cold air here in Western Canada. And then we have southwesterly wind flows warming things up. We're in the yellow area here, the scale at the bottom. So we're looking at temperatures between 12 and 14 degrees Celsius punching into Virginia. So after this weekend's cool down, we will have another warm up next week, mainly Tuesday and Wednesday, it looks like at this time. We also will have rain, and fairly heavy rain, to deal with. Moving on to the forecast valid Wednesday, 7 December at 0700 Eastern Standard Time. That weather system that was over us on Tuesday now pushes offshore. The area of low pressure along with a frontal boundary, they push offshore. Cold area of lower pressure over just north of Lake Huron over eastern Canada. A little bit of snow up that area, and then also another area of low pressure and snowfall over central Canada. Strong 1042 millibar high pressure system situated over Colorado. Clockwise flow around this will indicate stronger northwesterly winds, which indicates much colder air spilling into the Midwest at that time. And for Southeast Virginia next Wednesday, again, we still have a fairly higher thickness value in our area. There will be a secondary stronger cold front sitting back to the west, stretching from western Pennsylvania down through central Kentucky, western Tennessee, into central Arkansas. So that will be the real change for us. Once this front pushes through, it's going to cool down significantly. Looking at the jet stream next Wednesday, 7 December, there's a ridge of high pressure over the west coast, a deepening trough. These darker blue areas indicate stronger wind speeds that are blowing through this river of air known as the jet stream at 30,000 feet. This directs cold air in to the area It also, the flow around this low here over central Canada will bring cold air as well and funnel it down. We have southwesterly, west-southwesterly wind flow at 30,000 feet over southeast Virginia at this time, but the coldest air remains confined over central Canada into the northern plains. Moving ahead and advancing ahead, we're going to the forecast valid Thursday, 8 December at 0700. And now I want you to focus in on some things. We got a 1037 millibar high over South Dakota, strong northerly winds, north-northwesterly winds, pushing cold air down. That cold front is now offshore. So by Thursday morning next week, you are going to feel a drastic change in the temperatures when you go outside. Definitely get those winter coats out again, because we are looking for a very much colder pattern in the extended long range. We do have a 1036 millibar high all the way down to the Gulf Coast. Even the deep south is going to cool off at that time. But for Southeast Virginia, strong cold air advection, strong cold air funneling in. Look at this jet stream here, a trough of low pressure, an upper level low north of the Great Lakes now. It's going to bring in much colder air from Canada into the eastern United States, into Southeast Virginia. Very cold. So, and there's even some snowfall over the New England areas all the way into New York City, up in pushing into Boston and the Great Lakes area. There's going to be a lot of lake effect snow downwind of these Great Lakes, as is typical at the early part of the winter season. Moving on to Friday, 9 December, the cold conditions continue. We will be dry. A 1032 millibar high, which is fairly strong, is going to be situated over eastern Tennessee with a northwesterly wind and cold air still pouring into southeast Virginia at that time. All the precip remains offshore. No foreseeable storm systems upstream over the plains at this time. But you get the feel for this. There's another area of lower a troughing here on the 300 millibar chart into the eastern United States. That's going to bring down a lot of cold air, keep that cold air in place at this time. And then I want to go a little further out in time now. I will say with caution, if you extend out beyond 7 days, a lot can change between now and then. But again, the signs of the pattern change are there. So looking at the thickness charts for both the 13th on the left and the 17th of December, there is nothing but cold air, continuous cold air pouring into southeast Virginia, pouring into the eastern U.S., New England. This on the right on 17 December, that's a 1048 millibar high over North Dakota, and a lot of cold air funneling south. It's going to be very much below normal if this pans out. So I just wanted to give everybody a heads up that the cold is coming. This December is going to be much colder than last December for Southeast Virginia. Last December, I don't have a graphic, but we had the southeast high pressure system, the southeast ridge. It was ridging in further closer to the coast of the southeast, and we were getting a more persistent southwesterly wind pattern around that high pressure over the West Atlantic. That is not going to be the case this December. So get ready now. It's going to get colder. This is a 300 millibar analysis, or actually the forecast rather, for 13 December on the left, 17 December on the right, showing stronger jet maximum, going to deepen this trough over time. And wow, this is a very cold pattern, folks. We talked about the polar vortex possibly coming into play here. Possibly stratospheric warming, the polar vortex splitting and positioning itself somewhere in the vicinity of Hudson Bay. This is starting to look a lot similar to the 300 millibar 30,000 foot analysis back in January 2014, when the polar vortex broke off, was displaced off the poles, remained weak, and funneled cold air in. And you notice the ridging here over the west too. The combination of that ridging, that warmth bumping up into western Canada. Currently we have all this snowpack and cold air over western Canada. That ridge bumps up into that snowpack area. The jet stream basically forms a ridge off this area. It's going to dislodge the cold air downstream, and follow this troughing over the eastern United States and just dump cold air in. That's our main concern at Spot On Weather. We're looking at a very cold December. This is really an amazing amazing thing coming on in the future. Impressive cold pouring into the United States, and even NOAA now, if you look at the Climate Prediction Center, that's what this graphic's from right here. Even they, in the 8 to 14 day outlook, if you look how, when's the last time we have seen the whole United States, even Alaska, below normal in temperatures? Those are probabilities at the bottom of being below. But we're looking at some high probabilities of below normal temperatures based on what's coming, especially starting 8 December, after 9 December on. And I wanted to show the Arctic Oscillation again. I like to look at this one a lot. Yesterday we looked at it, and it goes slightly positive, but not by very much. It looks to me down towards the mid-December, it starts dropping off to negative again here. We'll have to keep an eye on that along with the North Atlantic Oscillation as well. So here's a long-range final thoughts. Folks, break out those winter jackets. This weekend's going to be slightly below normal. We're expecting temperatures in the low 50s for highs and lows at night in the 30s. Normal high this time of year for Southeast Virginia is 58 degrees. So we're going to be slightly below normal this weekend. But I want to tell you now that a much colder pattern is ahead. After a brief return to milder temperatures with high temperatures in the upper 50s and lower 60s next Monday, we'll start getting close to 60, and then definitely Tuesday and Wednesday will be the warmest days before it really cools off. And we got that rain coming in, a system from the southwest will be coming in here on Tuesday, giving us some good rain. Colder air is eventually going to move in as upper level winds turn more northwesterly. High temperatures over the second and third weeks of December may struggle to get out of the 40s. That's right, high temperatures in the 40s, which would be fairly significantly below normal. Lows overnight in the upper 20s to lower 30s. There will be brief warm-ups, I will say that, but they will be nothing like last winter when we had warm-ups that lasted quite a while. These warm-ups will be very brief before the next shot of very cold air moves into Southeast Virginia. And it's going to be a repetitive reloading of cold air masses. We'll get a really cold shot for 2 to 3 days, a brief warm-up for a day or two, and then another shot of cold air for 2 to 3 days. That's the way the pattern looks like it's shaping up right now. And sea surface temperatures are already running below normal by about 3 degrees for this time of the year. We're sitting at about 52 degrees. That will continue to drop. If these cold air masses come in with this kind of intensity in December, our water temperatures will drop significantly and rather quickly into the 40s. Now, this is crucial for winter precipitation later on across Southeast Virginia, because as the winds blow over the water, that obviously will have an impact on how the air mass moderates, especially during storm systems. Usually you get colder air to start, but then if the winds blow in off the waters, the water is milder and it moderates those temperatures, the air temperatures. So a lot to think about. Continue to stick with us on Spot On Weather, but it's looking colder. Again, the extreme longer range areas, that could change, obviously, so we'll keep an eye on it, and we go that far out in time. But we just want to give everybody a heads up. The colder pattern's on its way. And again, just a reminder, Spot On Weather, if we're not spot on, we're not doing it right. Have a great afternoon, folks.